safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the Black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA. Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Today is our birthday. We turned 25 years old at KBLA, and we are celebrating it with you. Join all of us in just a few moments at the Beehive today, June 19th, for our anniversary bash. Celebration from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be food, drink, a DJ, dancing, games. LA Mayor Karen Bass is stopping by, the one and only Lou Nell, the Grammy Award-winning artist Kenny Lattimore, and a few other surprises. The Beehive is the place to be on Juneteenth, and our community celebration is free. We've asked everyone to please register at KBLA1580.com, and we're encouraging folks to rideshare. But however you arrive, just get there. We look forward to celebrating our 5th anniversary with you this coming Friday, meaning today, from 4 to 7 p.m. At the conclusion of the show, I will be heading right over to the Beehive to greet our friends, our family, our supporters, and our regular listeners on this Juneteenth. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I am so grateful that in this hour we are going to have a very, very special guest, Kevon Ward, the founder of Black Landcestry LLC. What could be more appropriate than to have a conversation about where is our land? Where is my land is a movement dedicated to helping Black people discover, search for, identify, and reclaim land taken from us over the past 400 years. They provide assistance to Black families looking to reclaim their land through technology, research, and advocacy services. What sets this organization apart from others is their history-making track record and fact that they are focusing specifically on Black people in the areas of land justice. There's no one else doing this work, and specifically for Black people, despite there being a desperate need to remedy 90% of over 19 million acres of land stolen from Black people over the course of a century. Kevon Ward is our very special guest in this hour. Kevon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Kevon, we have about 3 minutes before we come forward, and come forward is the terminology that we use because we never go backwards here.
That's right.
We're always going forward. We have about 3 minutes. You've had some success in Los Angeles, California. Can you share with us the Bruce's Beach case and why it was so important and a turning point in this movement to reclaim our land?
Absolutely. So first, I want to also say happy birthday to the Black Land Back movement. It is in 2020 when I started the Black Land Back movement with the Bruce's Beach case. So in 2020, on Juneteenth, we had a gathering at Bruce's Beach Park when we realized that they were hiding information about what happened to this Black couple who were entrepreneurs, Charles and Willa Bruce, who owned beachfront property in Manhattan Beach, California. You know, I was a resident of Manhattan Beach. And when I read the plaque at the park, I said, you know, something just doesn't sit right. It doesn't feel right. And as I dug deeper, I realized that this Black couple was harassed. They were run off of their land. and ultimately had to retire with nothing. And so I just felt that a plaque wasn't enough to commemorate what had happened to that family. The naming the park Bruce's Beach wasn't enough. And it was, for me, it was simple. The land was taken. It was time to be returned. And so I set forth to start an advocacy campaign that I hoped to make it happen. And for the grace of God, it happened. In 2021, the land was returned by LA County.
It was returned to LA County, but presently on the land at that time was a parking lot and a beach house owned by the county. It was returned to the Bruces or to their descendants. And then the Bruces then in turn sold it back to the county for some $20 million. Is that correct?
Yes, unfortunately, the land was sold back to the county for $20 million. And I say unfortunately because when I set out to help them fight to get the land back, in my mind, it would have been amazing for this predominantly white community to have a space for Black people. They had worked so hard to get us out, and here we are getting land back, only to sell it back to LA County. At the time, it was being used as a lifeguard training facility, and I believe it still is. So there was a huge disappointment around that. And then after learning that it was sold, the amount they sold it for was something that didn't sit well with me either.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's the 5th anniversary of KBLA. I'll see you guys at the Beehive in just a few hours. Our very special guest in this hour is Kevon Ward. We're talking about our land and where it is and how we reclaim it. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward with Jesse Jackson Jr. and Kevon Ward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Hello, family. I'm Dr. Paul Wallace, inviting you to our annual Set Yourself Free Juneteenth open house at Wallace Skin and Body. Join me this Saturday, June 20th, from noon to 4 p.m. Say goodbye to double chins and sagging skin. Say hello to instantaneous skin tightening without surgery by Zerf. Speaking of tightening, it's not too late to work on that body and feel the real you with Body Shaping by M-Sculpt Neo. It's time to reclaim and regrow those lost edges or increase your hair density naturally with U-Secretome stem cell technology. It's 34 times more potent than PRP. We'll demo lasers for Black skin, raffle AI skin mapping every hour, and offer 50% off all products. Call 323-296-3376. That's 323-296-3376 to reserve your spot. I look forward to seeing you, and remember, looks count.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tommy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Fat Meat Fridays, and it is also Juneteenth. We are talking today about recapturing, reclaiming our land that was taken from us. And our very special guest in this hour is Kavon Ward. She is a leading authority on the process by which African Americans can reclaim the land that has been stolen to them from one end of the country to the other. We are continuing to experience massive Black land loss. The launch of the Black Landcestry app comes amid growing awareness of what scholars and advocates describe as one of the largest wealth transfers in American history. Today, Black Americans only own a fraction of the land once held by Black families and Black communities. The number of Black farmers declined, for example, by approximately 98% during the 20th century, driven by discriminatory lending, racial violence, heirs, property, vulnerabilities, and government policies that disproportionately harmed Black landowners. Black Americans owned approximately 15 to 16 million acres of farmland at the peak of Black land ownership in 1910. By the late 20th century, roughly 90% of that land had been lost. Researchers estimate that the cumulative value of Black agricultural land lost between 1920 and 1997 exceeds $326 billion in today's dollars. Kavon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you.
Kavon, share with us more about the app.
Well, so I just want to say that the app was initially thought of as a tool that would be used to help me with my work at Where Is My Land. But as you know, Where Is My Land lost its funding last year. Our funding was targeted, so we had to close our doors. And what we did with Where Is My Land is we provided research, advocacy, media, writing services for families who had come to us, which were probably about 1,000 families who had come to us for this help and an attempt to help them get their land back. And so we've had some successful campaigns, specifically in California, because of the precedent that was set by Bruce's Beach. For example, we helped the Section 14 survivors get to the negotiation table in Palm Springs. We helped the Silas White's family get to the negotiation table in Santa Monica. So I created something that I would consider my Black print. And with the infrastructure, we hired folks, we helped as many people as possible. But then, of course, our organization was one of those organizations known as a terrorist organization. And so folks stopped having the courage to get to us. So when I shut it down, I said, you know what, just because I'm shutting this organization down doesn't mean that the fight is going to be shut down. You know, Amen. I know I'm called to do this. And so I started thinking of creative ways to use the app, or the idea that I had in my mind for the app, to help folks outside of the organization existing. And so it wasn't until one day when I had to sit my behind down after having surgery. I was like, you know what? What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get the people the help they need and still be able to be of service in a way that works for me, and that where I'm not burnt out or having to rely on funding? And so I had a dream, and it came to me, what came to me was this could be the Uber of the reparation space as it relates to land justice. And what I mean by that is that it is an app, Black Landcestry is an app that connects professionals to justice seekers who are looking to get reparative justice in the form of land back and or compensation. And so what happens through the app is you have professionals that sign on, they put their profile up, they put their resumes up and their portfolios up, and they say, I am available for these services, i.e. legal, research, writing, media, and a host of other professions. And You have justice seekers who come onto the app, they create their profile, and they look for the help they need, right? And so, for example, I am going to be on the app as an advocate because I have the strategy, I have the blueprint. And so what folks can do is they can hire me. I'll let them know what I think they need for their case. They go through the app, they find, if they need a lawyer, they find a lawyer. If they need a media specialist, they hire me. Whatever it takes to get them to where they need to be without them having to wait for an organization to get to them, an organization that's struggling because they don't have the capacity to help as many people that is needed. So I'm very proud of the app. And I can't wait till folks are able to download it and use it. And I can't wait to see how successful it is with helping folks reclaim their land and or get compensation.
Kavon, we're very proud of you. Let me ask you a question. The funding that you said you received, was it federal or state, or was it private sector?
No, it was philanthropic dollars we received. And that was all we received. 90% of our funds came from philanthropic organizations out of the state of California. And you know,
the chilling effect on DEI, the entire
yes
environment,
yes
essentially eliminated the idea.
Absolutely. You know, first of all, I just want to say we never received the funds that we should have for the scale of work that we were asked or expected to do, right? As this organization who had success, right, and who had made history and having something done that had never been done before, you would expect for dollars, especially within the Black community, to come to us, to support us, to help us to do this work. But over the 4 or 5 years we existed, we never got anything up to $1 million. One year we made just under $1 million in terms of funding so that we could scale up and hire people. And then it was, you know, we scaled up, we hired the people, and next thing you know, we're not getting those funds anymore.
You know, I once gave a speech at an event that talked about comparative Exodus stories. When we read the story of the Exodus in the Bible, it is about the Israelites escaping Egyptian slavery, of course, through Moses's call, "Let my people go." And that would ultimately lead to a number of plagues where God intervened in human history, specifically for the purposes of the liberation of the Israelites, with a destiny towards a promised land, a land that Moses himself would not even enter into. And many generations in a wilderness experience had to suffer before they could enter into the idea of land ownership. But I remind people here in the United States that our Exodus experience, both of us had experienced, in terms of groups of people, 400 years of slavery. But our slavery is not pharaonic slavery from a pharaoh.
Yeah.
It is constitutional slavery. And so the process by which we move from slave systems to land ownership, to participation in generational wealth building, to maintaining the acquisition of our land, the fact that we even have to celebrate a Juneteenth, which was a hoodwink and a bamboozle about not letting our people in Galveston, Texas, and the state of Texas know that they were freed from slavery in the first place, and they got 2 more years of free labor. And when we think about, you know, former plantations, literally in South Carolina and in Georgia, where African Americans during first Reconstruction actually owned hundreds of acres of beachfront property, only to have golf courts and very wealthy people purchase the land underneath and create the conditions by which African Americans could not pay the local taxes, given how quickly property on both sides of African American tracts of land were rising because of tourism, because of golf, because of lakefront, oceanfront, if you will, property. We ended up being the losers. And I'm wondering in this moment, Kavon, in your research, how far back do you go in determining, based upon someone who has a claim, to determine whether or not at some point in time there is a story, there is a process, there was discrimination, in some cases outright violence, to scare Black people off of their land for the purposes of putting it back on the public doles and people within those communities in the private sector simply took advantage of the fact that they terrorized the hell out of Black people to accumulate what they did. Share with us some of your work, Yvonne.
Yeah, we go as far back as the documents let us go. There's no limit. We go as far back as, the research the family has done goes. I mean, you speak so much about just the tools and the methods in a way in which land was stolen, and the ways in which they prevent folks from even proving that the land was stolen. But we also want to understand that not when land was stolen, yes, and in most cases, specifically in the Midwest, oil and mineral was stolen right from underneath their land. There were folks who had the technology necessary to be able to see underneath the land and say, this is lucrative land because it has oil underneath it. We're going to take it. And in some cases, they drilled right underneath the property. So when I think about the depth in which
we did not know what we were getting
have gone.
You were saying, in other words, we did not know what we were given up or what was being taken from us at the moment that the land was either snatched from us or stolen from us. We didn't know the mineral rights and what was underneath it.
I'm sorry, I had some technical challenges. I couldn't hear your full question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You're suggesting that underneath some of the land that was stolen existed critical minerals that those who lived on top of the land had no knowledge of because the other side had the technology to explore, and they may in some cases have gotten the land for cheap and not shared with us what the true value of the land was worth.
Right. I'm not just suggesting it, I'm stating it. This is proven. I mean, we've had, and when Where's My Land days, we've seen these cases, and it's mainly within the Midwest and in the state of Texas. So I say all that to say that this is so widespread, and there are so many families that need help. We've had probably 1,000 families come to us and ask for help, but I know that there had to be more than that. And, the issue with the work is that, we are working so hard to repair the harms from the past, but every day it continues to happen. So we're trying to play catch up. And we just can't. It's like we fight for the folks who have been harmed in the past. At the same time, we fight to prevent it from happening in the future. And there's so many roadblocks and laws that are put into place that allows for this to continue to happen. And so I'm wondering when our policymakers are going to be radical enough to say enough is enough. We can't play politics as usual. We have to meet radicalism from the right with radicalism from the left. And I don't think our policymakers are prepared for that for whatever reason.
I think that's fascinating. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I'm represented them in Congress for 17 years. And literally there was a time when you could purchase a map as late as 1995, the city of Chicago. And I know that I'm not dealing with the historical issues from a century ago. I'm dealing with the ones over the last 25 years. The map of the city of Chicago had all of the northwest suburbs on it. The map of the city of Chicago had suburbs that did not include us, predominantly white, northwestern suburbs, most of the city of Chicago. And believe it or not, it stopped at the Museum of Science and Industry, which is just north of the Obama Library. Now that the Obama Library, for example, is built, there is grave concern in the community that property taxes for those of us who have been left behind are now going to skyrocket, essentially forcing those of us who live next door to the library to run the risk of selling early without taking into account the value of the property itself that now has this proximity not only to the library, but to Lake Michigan, because on the other side of the library is actually lakefront property.
Right.
And so the schemes are different. Fortunately, the Obamas are very sensitive to the idea that people could be dislocated. I've encouraged people to hold on to their property, but also to your point, African-American policymakers can't force a tax burden onto us now that we have an opportunity to experience higher property values as the result of the building of this enormous opportunity that now exists in the Black community. This too is a form of stealing our wealth from underneath our feet. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We have a full hour with Kevon Ward. We are discussing our land on Juneteenth, and there is no one better to help us understand it in this country than Kevon Ward. More when we come forward right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Obama Presidential Center opens to the public today in Chicago's Jackson Park, though tickets are sold out for months.
Democracy can be frustrating. It can be slow.
Yesterday's ceremony featured 3 former presidents and performances from Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and others. Former President Barack Obama said he hopes the center highlights the value of democracy. Former Washington, D.C. Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie, who is Black, has conceded the Democratic mayoral primary to Black Councilmember Janice Lewis-George. McDuffie says he congratulated her and wished her success in the general election. And today is Juneteenth, America's newest federal holiday marking the end of slavery in the U.S. On June 19, 1865, Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced that more than 250,000 enslaved Black people were free. Slavery was officially abolished nationwide later that year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Struggle with weight loss? OrderlyMeds.com/radio offers doctor-guided access to options like semaglutide and tirzepatide, often up to 50% less, delivered to your home. Visit OrderlyMeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary. Eligibility required. See site for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major League Baseball announced Friday morning the 50 players who will be competing in the HBCU Swingman Classic in Philadelphia on July 10th. The event is a showcase for the top HBCU baseball players around the country. The Classic is part of Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend, which is in Philadelphia. HBCU players will get a chance to be scouted by GMs and personnel directors from all 30 MLB teams before the draft on July 12th. 4 players were selected from Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman, 3 each from Jackson State, Florida A&M, and Alabama A&M. Tonight at 6, it's your Friday night sports fix, out of bounds and prime time. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some Black folks flavor. You can hang out with us on the KBLA YouTube channel or hit us up at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa, whoa.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It is the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. It is Juneteenth, and we're on Fat Meat Fridays, the same day that KBLA was founded just 5 years ago. It's also the same day that the Barack Obama Presidential Library Center, if you will, is being opened in the city of Chicago. And I have argued consistently that we are towards a definition of Juneteenth, the ways in which we as a people commemorate Juneteenth, because the original story is about our people being hoodwinked, bamboozled, lied to, and deceived when the state of Texas refused to follow Abraham Lincoln's executive order called an Emancipation Proclamation to free our people. Therefore, the people of Texas, who the Emancipation Proclamation applied to, refused to let their slaves know that they were free. And it wouldn't be until 1865, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, that our ancestors were notified that they indeed had been freed. The consequences of that and that alone are responsible for the Juneteenth holiday. And now towards a new definition, not the bamboozle that took place in 1863 and 1865, but a new definition, the founding of KBLA, the right to have our unapologetic voices in the space, the establishment of the Barack and Michelle Obama Presidential Center, the establishment of Landcestry LLC, run by and owned and operated by Kevon Ward, helping us identify our land is towards a new definition that is fundamentally different than the definition that took place between 1863 and 1865. In other words, we're moving beyond the celebration of just barbecue and beer and another day off to actually fighting for justice, a full cycle moment for African Americans. Kevon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you. Yes, it is. It is the movement toward Black liberation, right? By any means necessary. What actions are we going to take on this day to ensure that we are continuing the fight to liberate our people in every capacity? And so you forgot to mention that it is also the 6-year anniversary of the Black Land Back movement. 6 years ago is when I started the fight to help the Bruces get back their land in Manhattan Beach, California.
It is definitely towards a definition, and that certainly is one of the future data points that I will use as we begin to continue to define what Juneteenth means in 2026 and beyond. Let me ask you a question. Walk us through, if you will, first of all, how we can get in contact with you, how we can take advantage of your services, and walk us through, hey, I'm inquiring. I am concerned. I have reason to believe that at some point in time in my not too distant past, or as far back as the documents will go, that my people were hoodwinked. What would be the process? Walk us through that, Kevon.
I think first folks need to figure out what they want the outcome to be, right? Because if you don't know what you want to come of what you believe happened, then you don't know what you're looking for to get help. So when it comes to how we, Black Landcestry, can help, we use this tool, the app, for folks to download, for folks to come on. They can book an advocacy strategist, an advocacy recommendation report based off of the information they have or don't have is created for them. And then they can move forward and hire the folks from the app that they need to get closer to justice. That's what it is. So right now, there's still some beta testing going on, and we're trying to really, really enhance certain features of the app. So it's going to be available for professionals to download by July 1st, and for justice seekers to download by July 21st. And we are doing it this way because we want folks to come on who are seeking justice to have a plethora of individuals to choose from or professionals to choose from to get the services they need. And so folks can go to www.blacklancestry.com. They can join the waiting list. They can get alerts for when it is actually ready for them to download. And they can go there to find out more information about certain professionals we are featuring from the app as a result of the reviews some of the justice seekers have provided, and just learn more about the plight of this issue in this country.
You know, one of the great challenges that my father often reminded us of was that when they were marching from Selma to Montgomery, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, we had certain natural allies who, one, had experienced some form of discrimination, not unlike that which we've experienced as African Americans. But when we moved from fighting for civil rights to silver rights, that is fighting for our share of the economy, fighting for what was ours, we end up finding ourselves on the other side of our allies. And the reason I hearken to this point is because the private sector philanthropy that you received prior to the shift in the political climate, there should be no justification for why the private sector isn't still stepping up and standing with you, even through this storm. But it does raise the question, if the political climate were different, would an organization like yours also be able to take advantage and welcome state-funded efforts or state funding to fund such a program, or even federal funding to help African Americans identify exactly what you're trying to get us to do?
It depends on the strings attached to that funding, right? I know a lot of reparations organizations who won't take funding from federal or state individuals because they're being asked to water their work down. So I'm very, very picky about funds that I take. And I'm also very clear about the work that I do, what I stand for, and who I fight for. And if that means that you're not going to fund me, then don't fund me. You understand what I'm saying? So I do believe it depends on the strings that are attached, because I've known givers and donors who only give if you lighten your message up, or if you don't say Black and you say people of color and you incorporate all marginalized groups. And I'm very intentional, and I say no, because this is not about.
Why would they critique or criticize being Black? We are specifically talking about our stuff. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it happens. It happens. Yeah. Dollars are attached to the policing of our message, of our voice, and the policing of the work we do. It didn't just happen when Trump came into office. It happened more when he came into office, but I've also seen that happen when the former president Biden was in office. So I just think folks are extremely risk averse, huh?
And when we was in charge.
Yes. I mean, yes, exactly. Exactly. But for some reason, I mean, I stood at President Obama's second inauguration, and I heard him talk about all the groups he was going to create and change policy for, including the Native Americans, including the LGBTQ, but he did not mention Black people. Did not. And that was so disappointing. I could have understood if he didn't mention us in the beginning, because I know he probably didn't want to ruffle any feathers and wanted to make it to a second term so he can get the actual work done. That's what I was hoping. But he got to the second term and still ignored the very important work that Black people needed to have done. And that was the disappointing moment for me when it came to President Obama.
When I think about some of the things in the second term of Donald Trump, including but not limited to the latitude that the Supreme Court has given him, we now know what we did not know then, that the presidency, particularly in the second term, had an opportunity for broad reach to solve some real problems that had been very systemic in our situation as African Americans. And it simply did not happen. It simply did not happen. And that's a legitimate critique going forward in terms of our support of Democrats and Republicans running for office. What have you done for us lately? Where is our land? What assistance can you give
There
us,
appears to
including
be
the
a
Department of
issue.
Justice?
I'm not sure if you're seeing that on your end.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
I can. So it seems to me that, what I know about executive power is this, is we've seen what the President of the United States has done with respect to the Department of Justice and how he has weaponized it against justice. What we know now is that the Department of Justice, under a thoughtful, caring administration, can also be used to enforce and challenge the states with fewer strings attached to allow Kavon Ward to do the kind of work that she does, and similar organizations throughout the states to not be challenging, for example, the village of Evanston or its reparations program, which is leading national news on this day, but could actually be supportive with the government on our side for the purposes of addressing historic systemic remedies to what has plagued us as African Americans. More with Kavon Ward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Fat Meat Fridays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show when we come forward right here at KBLA.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's cal-cruise-news.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center in Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like nuclear reactor safety expert.
I disabled the backup cooling system. It was making such an annoying noise. You heard it, right? It was like,
we're on a countdown to core failure.
And you're saying we don't want that?
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Fat Meat Friday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's also the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. We will be at the Beehive today between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Please come and meet your favorite KBLA host. We're celebrating Juneteenth together. Our very special guest in this hour has been none other than Kavon Ward, founder of Black Landcestry LLC. Her organization and the movement seeks to answer the question, where is my land? Where is our land? And what sets them apart from others is our history, their history-making track record, and the fact that they have focused specifically on Black people in the area of land justice. Kavon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thanks again for having me.
Kavon, what does this holiday mean to you in light of your ministry, in light of your work in this land space?
It means the fight forward for Black liberation. It means the fight forward for reparations. You know, I focus mainly on land reparations, but I believe the reparations space is doing some amazing work, especially folks in California. There's so many organizers out there doing the work to get policy introduced and passed. And I want to encourage them to keep the fight up. You know, we were one of the organizations, Where's My Land at least was one of the organizations that had some real success. But they saw that despite that success, we had to close our doors. And, you know, they're still hanging in. I just want to encourage them to keep going no matter what. Expenses as low as possible so that you can sustain and keep doing the important work. And it's a big ask, right? Because oftentimes Black people are asked to do the unthinkable and the most for very little to nothing, you know, and that contributes to, you know, burnout, and it affects our mental health. And I don't think that people think about that when they think about freedom fighters and Black liberation movements. They don't. We give so much in exhaustion. And we're not met with the support we need to get the work done. So I would encourage those movers and those Black, liberation folks to just keep going and more so to have, let's support them. They need support. We need support. We cannot do this work without the support. There are hundreds and thousands of people asking for help, but one person can't do it by themselves. So we need to do better with stepping up and making sure that these organizations are supported so that we can keep supporting the people.
Well, we are extremely grateful here at KBLA that on Juneteenth you are sharing this commemoration with us, because the history of stealing land from Black people in this country is as profound as the history of having stolen our rights. I mean the rights that we were entitled to at the very moment that we were born, our God-given rights. And Dr. King once said, based upon a quote that I heard him deliver, something to the effect that I'm tired of fighting for rights that should have been mine at birth. And in a real sense, we're tired of fighting for our fair share of land, our fair share of a nation that we built that should have been ours at birth. And the schemes by which our parents work for hours at a time, for decades, for weeks, and then upon the loss of our parents, that which they have worked for is suddenly taken from up underneath us. My mother and father, I should share with you in this moment, my mother in Washington, D.C. was unable to get to Washington during my father's ailment. They own their home in the LaDroit Park community. Unbeknownst to my mother, during the months that she was caring for my father, there was a main break in her house, and her basement ended up flooding with like thousands and thousands of gallons of water, to the tune that the water company placed a lien on her home because she was unable to get back to Washington, D.C. Now, mind you, her home, when she purchased it, probably cost $100,000. Today, it's probably worth 15 times that amount of money. And they want to sell her home for the lien. Can you imagine that? And now she is in a battle with the D.C. Water Company. Mrs. Jacqueline Jackson is in that battle and reaching out to everyone she knows, because she owns her home and she has called on more than enough occasions, but it's just another scheme. It's just a scheme. As the neighborhood itself became more and more gentrified, she dug in before it did. And we dig in oftentimes before it does. We risk everything to stay in the neighborhood and then to transfer the little wealth that we have on to our children, only to come up with a property tax or a lien scheme that ultimately undermines our ability. Kavon, we can't thank you enough for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just also want to add that, this is a tactic that they use. I'm sorry about what's going on with your mom, but this is just another tactic they use. They don't provide the resources to help her out. Then her property is considered a blight, right? And it's not worth much of anything anymore. And they're able to just take control over it. It's disgusting. And it's hard for us to get ahead when it's still happening. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and keep my eyes on the prize and stay encouraged.
We're so proud of you. Listen, we have about 1 minute and 45 seconds left in our program, and we always ask our special guests if they would offer the nation a word of hope. Kavon Ward.
My word of hope for today is faith over fear. And being faithful takes courage. It really does. I'm not saying that you should not experience fear, because everyone experiences it, but fight past the fear and use faith as your endpoint for that. Because with the level of resistance we're meeting today and the level of control and power that the other side of this fight has, we can't afford to be afraid. We have to take risks. We have to come together. We have to help each other out. And we've just got to fight. We got to keep the fight going by any means necessary.
So proud of you for the work that you're doing and the work that you continue to do. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Our very special guest in this hour has been Kavon Ward. Kavon, you're welcome back on our program anytime. Any more insights that you want to share with the nation, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know.
Will do. Thank you again for having me.
And have a wonderful Juneteenth. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 7 p.m. We will see you at the Beehive. We have another hour coming up on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns, the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, along with Ted Williams and Reverend Neighbors, who's been leading the fight in Evanston for reparations, to which Donald Trump and the Department of Justice has now singled out that fight in national news today to do everything they can to stop the first nation's most successful reparations program. More when we come back right here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Obama Presidential Center opens to the public today in Chicago's Jackson Park, though tickets are sold out for months.
Democracy can be frustrating. It can be slow.
Yesterday's ceremony featured 3 former presidents and performances from Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and others. Former President Barack Obama said he hopes the center highlights the value of democracy. Former Washington, D.C. Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie, who is Black, has conceded the Democratic mayoral primary to Black Councilmember Janice Lewis George. McDuffie says he congratulated her and wished her success in the general election. And today is Juneteenth, America's newest federal holiday marking the end of slavery in the U.S. On June 19, 1865, Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced that more than 250,000 enslaved Black people were free. Slavery was officially abolished nationwide later that year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Struggle with weight loss? OrderlyMeds.com/radio offers doctor-guided access to options like semaglutide and tirzepatide, often up to 50% less, delivered to your home. Visit OrderlyMeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary. Eligibility required. See site for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major League Baseball announced Friday morning the 50 players who will be competing in the HBCU Swingman Classic in Philadelphia on July 10th. The event is a showcase for the top HBCU baseball players around the country. The Classic is part of Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend, which is in Philadelphia. HBCU players will get a chance to be scouted by GMs and personnel directors from all 30 MLB teams before the draft on July 12th. 4 players were selected from Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman, 3 each from Jackson State, Florida A&M, and Alabama A&M. Tonight at 6, it's your Friday night sports fix, out of bounds and prime time. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some Black folks flavor. You can hang out with us on the KBLA YouTube channel or hit us up at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, Black and white. corporate and independent. Look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw. Year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA. Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Fat Meat Fridays, and it's the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. Today we turn 5 on Juneteenth, and we are celebrating it with you, all of your favorite KBLA 1580 hosts will be at the Beehive. Our anniversary bash from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. today. There'll be food, there'll be drink, a DJ, dancing, games. LA Mayor Karen Bass will be joining us. The one and only Lunel, comedian, the Grammy Award-winning artist Kenny Lattimore, and a few other surprises. The Beehive is the place to be this Juneteenth, and our community celebration is free, but you must register at kbla1580.com, and we're encouraging folks to ride share. It is Fat Meat Friday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and that means the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Gina Towns, president and CEO of 519 Productions, and the executive producer of our show now joins us. She's also the host right here on Fridays of Reflectivity, Fat Meat Fridays. A graduate of Hampton University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communications and Journalism, Gina earned her Master of Arts in Theology and Social Justice from Princeton Theological Seminary. Gina, welcome forward to the show.
Hi, Jesse.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. I'm glad also that joining us in this hour is none other than Ted Williams, as well as Dr. Michael Neighbors. Dr. Williams is an actor, but he is also a prolific thinker, scholar, educator, author who teaches political science at the City Colleges of Chicago. He's a graduate of the University of Chicago, Rutgers University, and Northern Seminary. His acting credits include NBC's Chicago PD, Showtime's The Chi, various films, plays, commercials for companies including Empire Carpet, Cheerios, and Subway. Ted, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and Fat Meat Fridays with our mutual friend Gina Towns.
Thank you all for having me. Happy Liberation Day today.
Amen. Also joining us in this hour is none other than Reverend Dr. Michael C.R. Neighbors, senior pastor of the historic Second Baptist Church in Evanston. The 140-plus-year-old church is one of the oldest African-American congregations on the North Shore. Since arriving at Second Baptist Church, Dr. Neighbors has sought to continue leading the church in its historical role as a trumpeter for Christ and as a social justice advocate in Evanston and Metro Chicago. Dr. Neighbors has been the head of the NAACP, I believe, in Trenton, New Jersey. He certainly is the head of the NAACP in Evanston. I know that I'm missing another municipality that Dr. Neighbors has been the head of, but either way, he's in national news because Donald Trump has decided to weaponize the Department of Justice against a program that he has championed as a leader in the community of Evanston, where he is the president of the NAACP, to grant reparations to residents who've experienced some form of discrimination as a result of the peculiar institution of slavery from 1919 to the present. Dr. Neighbors, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, thank you. I'm so happy to be here and happy to be with Ted Williams, who I have not met, but I have seen you on my television screen. And man, it's an honor to be with you today along with Gina. Yes, sir.
God bless you, man.
I don't know why Gina's not bringing herself forward for this conversation. I'd really like to see her on the program. But Gina, why don't we kick it over to you, because this is an important we have about 1 minute before we come forward on KBLA Talk. So we really can't get into the substance of our conversation. But Ted, as you well know, the Department of Justice has now been weaponized against the village of Evanston, and the work that Dr. Neighbors has been undertaking in terms of the reparations movement. And this reparations movement in Evanston is really unique in that the work they have done in the Christian community and the Jewish community, between synagogues and churches and Muslims, the faith community, local people within Evanston have all been supportive and raising money, recognizing that a serious harm occurred in Evanston. So this just ain't black folk fighting for reparations and fairness in Evanston. It is multicultural and multiracial, and it's a very important effort that's going to bring that community together. Now they're fighting Donald John Trump and the DOJ. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Hello, family. I'm Dr. Paul Wallace, inviting you to our annual Set Yourself Free Juneteenth open house at Wallace Skin and Body. Join me this Saturday, June 20th, from noon to 4 p.m. Say goodbye to double chins and sagging skin. Say hello to instantaneous skin tightening without surgery by Zerf. Speaking of tightening, it's not too late to work on that body and feel the real you with Body Shaping by M-Sculpt Neo. It's time to reclaim and regrow those lost edges or increase your hair density naturally with U-Secretome stem cell technology. It's 34 times more potent than PRP. We'll demo lasers for black skin, raffle AI skin mapping every hour, and offer 50% off all products. Call 323-296-3376. That's 323-296-3376 to reserve your spot. I look forward to seeing you, and remember, looks count.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Farley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It is the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580, our birthday, and I want KBLA listeners to know I am totally feeling the KBLA birthday jingle. That was really nice, very well done, and very, very appropriate. This is a victory for us. In an era when the First Amendment to the Constitution itself is being challenged, we have our own station by which we can tell our own truth. Very honest and very grateful for Tavis Smiley to have taken on this enormous task in one of the most important markets in the United States, right here in Los Angeles, and by way of the app, all over the world. In this moment, I want to ask Dr. Michael Neighbors, who was our very special guest when the news was breaking on Wednesday. The Department of Justice was weaponizing the idea of the reparations movement in Evanston as if to teach an example to other municipalities around the country that have understood the moral dilemma that is the absence of reparatory damage, repairing the damage that has been done as a result not only of slavery, but the ongoing issues associated with systemic racism that have existed since the inception of the nation itself. Dr. Neighbors, welcome forward to the program. And of course, Ted, I'm honored that you're here. And Gina, of course, is going to be our regular contributor and creator. Dr. Neighbors, can you give us some of the history by which you've advanced this movement in Evanston and what the current state of play is in light of the Department of Justice and their challenge to the existence of the program?
I'd be delighted to, Jesse. First of all, reparations in Evanston was officially passed with Resolution RS 126 in November of 2019. That resolution came forth from African-American Alderwoman Robin Rue Simmons, who has since become the face of reparations, especially local reparations throughout the country. We've been very, very excited since that reparation resolution was passed by the council and by the mayor. Since then, they have moved from raising $10 million to over $25 million over a 10-year period. Nearly $8 million has already been given out to African-American individuals and families who have been able to show that they were damaged due to racism in the area of housing. It's been quite an amazing journey. And as a result, Alderwoman Robin Rue Simmons left the city council and started a nonprofit organization called First Repair so that she can devote herself full time to the movement of reparations. We have hosted 6 reparation summits since then. We have been involved in the creation and development of reparation initiatives throughout the country. Some of them are already paying out money to Blacks who have suffered from damage to racism in the past. And Jesse, those areas, just a few of them to name: Asheville, North Carolina; Amherst in Boston, Massachusetts; Palm Springs, California; Tulsa, Oklahoma; Roanoke, Virginia; St. Paul, Chicago, of course; Providence, Rhode Island; St. Louis, Missouri; Sacramento; Berkeley; San Francisco, and a number of others. So we are on the cutting edge. And I believe that the reason why the Trump administration is aiming to try to challenge Evanston reparations is because if they find success in doing so, other reparation movements that have begun will probably begin to falter as well. But we have something for them, Jesse, and you mentioned it already. We're not just a reparations movement for Blacks in Evanston. We are a multicultural interfaith organization where tens of thousands of Evanston residents have been supportive and involved. So we're excited to be able to challenge the Justice Department and, of course, the vitriol and racism coming from the administration.
Dr. Williams, I know you've done some considerable amount of work in this space as well. Dr.
Yes.
Williams?
So I'm, thank you once again, happy to be here. I'm actually broadcasting from the African American History Museum in Waukegan, Illinois. I'm running around at Juneteenth events today, and they have been gracious enough to host me. So I am grateful for these kinds of museums who do the work and who make this kind of thing happen. Their CEO, Sylvia England, is just doing a phenomenal job, and I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. But the reality is I am currently serving on the Illinois African Descent Citizens Reparations Commission, and we were appointed by the governor to do so. There are 3 national commissions on the state, or 3 state level commissions across the country: California, New York, and also Illinois. And so I am so excited by Dr. Neighbors and his work, because the movement's spreading, right? You can't keep it down. Now, let me say this very clearly. We are really, and I'm sure Dr. Neighbors could speak to this as well, but the Trump administration is really playing some political games, some trickery, as we know very well. They're talking about the question of whether this is a race-based program. And if it's race-based, they're trying to use the 14th Amendment to then say that it is discriminatory, knowing that much of what Evans is doing is specifically around housing and not just sort of racial identity. But more importantly, the Trump administration cannot have it both ways. They just argued in a court before the Supreme Court around the U.S. naturalization situation that the 14th Amendment, and I remember because I sat and watched these Supreme Court arguments, that the 14th Amendment was explicitly meant for us, for African Americans, for the newly and freed slaves. And so it could not give birthright citizenship to people of Latino descent or other folks. So they were saying, hey, this was for the enslaved to do right. Now, a few months later, they flip it around and go, hey, this ain't for you all. This is really about discrimination against white people and other people. And I'm telling you, you cannot have it both ways. It is very clear, as we all know, that the 14th Amendment had a very specific goal to rectify and to equalize African Americans after suffering through 250 years of slavery. And for them to try to conflate these two issues and suggest that the 14th Amendment would be the reason why we cannot rectify racial injustice is laughable, it is ignorant, and it is inflammatory, and we have to stand against it.
Gina, a very important conversation on this celebration of Juneteenth.
Absolutely, and I am very grateful for both Ted and for Michael to return on this Friday, because I thought, like, Fat Meat Friday, I was so glad Juneteenth fell on Fat Meat Friday so that we could really have this conversation.
We could
and
have
see
some greens. We could have some greens with this thing.
Yeah, indeed.
I think one thing that I want to focus on is I've just been watching social media, and I don't know where all the hate comes from when there's a post that really doesn't apply to you, white America, and you feel the necessity to comment on it in not only if it is the celebration of Juneteenth, but please don't let it be anything that has to do with reparations. And I just really appreciate the opportunity for this discussion to happen on today. I want to know why it is okay for the Japanese to have been repaired from having to go to internment camps during World War II. I want to know why Germany can see the reason why swastikas are not allowed in public. It seems like people all over the world can grasp injustice and, hey, let's stop it. Let's all try to get along. And it's not perfect, but here in the United States, we are in this retroactive space. And I just want to bring some attention to the fact that people just won't even let us get it out. They, why are Black people always complaining? Yeah.
Gina, if I may, you are hitting it right on the head. This country's never repudiated racism. We've never distanced ourselves from it. We have always been in a situation where we've played nice with races. I think back immediately to the post-civil rights era where we did not punish the South for their involvement in the Confederacy. And so we did not punish the January 6th treasonous folks who tried to take over the Capitol and overthrow a federal election. And so with all of that, it is so clear to me that America is still dealing with its demons. And until, as Seeley said in The Color Purple, until you do right by me, right? Nothing that the United States is trying to do will work. We cannot go make America great again. We have to make America great once and for all. And so for me, it is very clear. This country is okay with racism. It tolerates racism. In fact, in many ways, it fully celebrates and embraces racism. And racism is a part of what it means to be in America. And so this conversation is showing us 150 years later why we still have so much work to do.
Dr. Niebers?
Yeah, Ted, I want to echo that sentiment. And I want to say there's this old word about reckoning. I don't think that our country has reckoned its great sin, which is the sin of slavery, which is part of the basis of racism in our country and in modern times. And until this country reckons with the greatness of its sin and the damage that it has done, I think that you're absolutely right. It will not move in the right direction. What we have now with the Trump administration is we have somebody that is representing the flawed perspective, the flawed philosophy of millions and millions of white Americans who are under the impression that there's nothing wrong with racism, that there was nothing wrong with slavery, that it was something that helped to build up the economy and build up the very character of our nation. Our responsibility is to claim our own narrative. And claiming our own narrative means that we have to know our history, we have to know the right and wrong of it, and then we have to be able to articulate that history in a way that stands against what the present administration is doing. The administration didn't just start with naming the Department of Justice to investigate what's going on with reparations in Evanston. This administration has been racist, from the very beginning. This is the president who called countries on the continent of Africa, shithole countries. This is the same president who just the other day tried to say that it was Iran who called former President Barack Obama an SOB. We all heard that. We know that nobody in Iran would call President Obama an SOB, but he used that as an excuse to, again, denigrate Black people, to denigrate people of color and contributions. And I think that one thing that's very important, and Gina brought this up, it was very important to me, is that I believe that Japanese Americans, many of them are very supportive of the reparations movement going on for Black people. That's particularly true here in Evanston, where we have the director of the Buddhist Council of the Midwest, who has been a champion for our work in Evanston. It is also true for many people in the Jewish community, especially Reform synagogues. We have two major synagogues in Evanston that have been very, very supportive and contributors to reparations in this country. So it's not just a Black versus white thing. It is a right versus wrong thing. It is a justice versus injustice. It is good versus evil.
And I would say on top of that, this states' rights question with the Trump administration, they should be excited that local municipalities are taking this on. They should be excited. Their philosophy is, hey, we don't want federal involvement in these issues. So hey, the states are doing it, and now they're mad at that. What do you want?
Yeah.
I do have a very quick question before we come forward to our co-host, Gina. Gina, there have been 267 popes, and only Pope Leo is the first to ever take a position on behalf of the See of Peter, if you will, of the Holy See, they call it in Catholicism, on this question. I find that while we're having this conversation about Evanston and reparations globally, even the Pope knows that there is a profound problem.
I don't want to sound like I'm tooting the horn of Chicago, because everyone who knows me knows I love LA, the city of wood and fancy cars. Our brothers and sisters, who are cheering on the Knicks and in all the cities and the rural areas around the country. I just love people. But, it is something when you have a pope that is from the United States who is bold enough in his faith and true to his faith, to be able to say, here's what it is in this country, and I am not going to ignore it. We have to admire that.
It's the 5th anniversary of KBLA. We'll be at the Beehive from 4 to 7 p.m. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns, the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and Reverend Dr. Neighbors, the pastor of a major church in Evanston, Illinois, and the founder and articulator and leader, one of the leaders of the reparations movement in the city of Evanston, as well as Dr. Ted Williams, who is a member of the Reparations Commission in the state of Illinois, appointed by the governor of the state. More on KBLA's 5th anniversary, our 5th birthday, right here when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Congresswoman Lois Frankel is announcing details about a new African American museum and research library in West Palm Beach for Juneteenth.
That our rights and our stories and our history must always be protected.
The museum will be located at Roosevelt High School, Palm Beach County's first black high school, which opened in 1950 before desegregation. The Obama Presidential Center is now open to the public. Barack and Michelle Obama greeted the first 100 visitors and held a children's reading in the library branch. The museum is sold out for several months, but the campus remains open to the public. The Obama Foundation is a nonprofit collaborator of the Black Information Network. And the TSA is warning travelers to prepare for busy airports and long security lines this Juneteenth holiday weekend. More than 800 flights have already been canceled nationwide, with most cancellations affecting Dallas, Fort Worth, and Charlotte. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Struggle with weight loss? OrderlyMeds.com/radio offers doctor-guided access to options like semaglutide and tirzepatide, often up to 50% less, delivered to your home. Visit OrderlyMeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary. Eligibility required. See site for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major League Baseball announced Friday morning the 50 players who will be competing in the HBCU Swingman Classic in Philadelphia on July 10th. The event is a showcase for the top HBCU baseball players around the country. The Classic is part of Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend, which is in Philadelphia. HBCU players will get a chance to be scouted by GMs and personnel directors from all 30 MLB teams before the draft on July 12th. 4 players were selected from Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman, 3 each from Jackson State, Florida A&M, and Alabama A&M. Tonight at 6, it's your Friday night sports fix, out of bounds and prime time. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some Black folks flavor. You can hang out with us on the KBLA YouTube channel or hit us up at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face. And we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. a place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, Black and white, corporate and independent. Look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw, year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the Black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 15.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Fat Meat Fridays on this, the 5th anniversary, the birthday of KBLA Talk 1580. It's Juneteenth right here at KBLA, and we'll be at the Beehive from 4 to 7 p.m. tonight. I have a 7:30 flight back to the city of Chicago in the morning. Our producer, Gina Towns, and creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, is also here to celebrate the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. Gina co-produced the Emmy Award-nominated and documentary Hampton University, one of the wonders of the world, and is a songwriter, co-producer, and performer. Her single, Yes, hit number 26 with a bullet on the Billboard charts. Dr. Michael Neighbors earned an undergraduate degree in English and Creative Writing at Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, Michigan, a Master of Divinity degree with an emphasis on systematic theology, and a Master of Theology with an emphasis on ethics at Princeton Theological Seminary in Princeton, New Jersey, and the Doctor of Ministry focusing on African American preaching at United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio. He's been both a Samuel DeWitt Proctor and Benjamin Elijah Mays Fellow. Dr. Neighbors, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you.
Honored that you are here. And none other than Dr. Ted Williams is our very special guest, a regular contributor on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, an educator, actor, author, who teaches political sciences at the City Colleges of Chicago. Dr. Williams, welcome forward to the show as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Gina, during the break, you had a point or two that you wanted to make about the Pope's outfit.
I just wanted to imagine the Pope for one moment talking to other people, not in his official pontifical, fashion, just to say, can you all believe that we have to put up with this and that we just can't call it what it is in a nation that calls themselves Christian? And can't you just see him taking his pontiff hat off, sitting at the side, coming out his robe and being like, listen,
Go White Sox.
Can I just get some deep dish pizza? Can we go up to Wrigley or Comiskey or something and talk about this? You get Ghana, who, on the world stage offers a tremendous piece, a resolution at the UN that calls slavery
one of the greatest evils,
the greatest crime
against humanity in human history.
And then we have to sit here and have a conversation about land that was not given to us, because we're going to have to kill President Lincoln before we get to the second part of the Emancipation Proclamation, because it's not just citizenship, freedom. It is land, then it is citizenship, or perhaps it's freedom, citizenship, land. I don't know, but somehow we missed the whole land piece. And then, as we talked about in the hour before this show with Kavan Ward, we have to fight tooth and nail about land that is continuously taken from us. They do all these little things like, we couldn't find anybody in the family when they're sending out notices looking for people who have passed on. Eminent domain, no.
High property taxes.
Ridiculous.
Won't notify you when your loved one has passed.
But you see
that the property belongs to you and they take it from you. And
yeah.
Everybody this on the show is a seminarian, and Reverend Neighbors in particular may have some appreciation for this, because that was like the first thing out of my mouth at Princeton. Well, the second thing, Reverend Neighbors, was land. If you look biblically and then historically, both in a civic sense and a moral sense, land allows you to grow your food. It allows you to have space to stretch your family out, have your own, goat, or whatever it is, that you are calling your business in order to make money. People want to argue with me about land. I think it's the perfect reparations topic.
Dr. Williams, do you have your own goat?
Goat has a whole nother meaning in this generation. I'm thinking about who is the goat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Gina, I think that you're spot on there. I think that land is very important. Many of us remember that in one of Malcolm X's famous speeches, he said that land was the basis for every single revolution. I don't think that he was terribly wrong on that. And I think that when we go to the biblical motif, starting with this idea of promised land, that land was essentially, according to Jewish people, a promise that God had given them that would set them apart and make them different. And of course, theologically, I think all all of us being seminarians have gotten to a point where we can argue whether or not the land that they believe God gave them was actually their land. So that's another issue. But it does talk about the importance of land in general. And while that was an agricultural term, Gina, that you used in terms of a biblical reference of a goat, land is essentially still very, very important for individuals, for citizens in the United States as well. And one of the things that we also know, you all, is that the ownership of land by people of color, whether they be Black or whether they be our indigenous brothers and sisters, that ownership of land is diminishing and lower and lower. And just 2 generations ago, I would say maybe 3, most of us have family members that were probably on a farm somewhere. I can date my family back 7 generations, and it's only been the last 3 generations where we were not on a farm. The first 4 generations, we were farmers. We tilled the land. That's how we made a living. That's how we came together in community. The churches were built around land that was owned by Blacks. We all know that. So I think that part is very, very important. And I believe that reparations should also focus on the importance of land ownership. We haven't been able to do that just yet, but we have focused on home ownership and owning homes. And when you own a home, you do have at least a parcel of land that is yours as well. So thank you for bringing that up, Gina. I think it is just really, really critical when we talk about reparations, especially on this Juneteenth. And listen, guys, we can't forget also about the fact that we're about to celebrate the nation's 250th anniversary. All of this is working together. It's not just the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. It's also 1776 and 250 years ago. We are celebrating this moment when our nation had the audacity to declare its independence from British tyranny, and at the same time created a violent tyranny against its own people of color, that is Africans and also indigenous people. So there's contradictions everywhere. And Ted, as you said earlier, until we get it right, we will not be right as a nation and as a people.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more with Dr. Neighbors, more with Ted Williams. And I got a question for you guys about this nation giving birth to the first trillionaire, an immigrant who doesn't care much for the rights that we've earned in this system, indeed has been working against democracy by supporting the present administration. More when we come back right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Gas prices got you down. LADWP customers get a rebate of up to $4,000 when you buy a used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. Installing an EV charger at your home? Get a rebate for that too, up to $1,500. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Get ready to play at the LA 84 Foundation Free Play Day Block Party, a community celebration with music, dancing, art, food, games, sports, LA Pro Teams, giveaways, and family fun all day. Saturday, June 27th at 2141 West Adams from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Register at la84.org. See you at Play Day.
Do you need extra cash? Go to WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $5,000, sometimes the same day. If you're experiencing an unexpected financial emergency, WeFixMoney.com can help. Get money for bills, car repairs, rent, medical expenses, vacation, or anything else. Just fill out the form and you'll get an answer in less than 2 minutes. WeFixMoney.com is completely free to use and available 24/7. And you're under no obligation to accept any loan offer. WeFixMoney.com has been helping customers for 17 years and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Millions of Americans have trusted WeFixMoney.com. For emergency cash up to $5,000, go to WeFixMoney.com. Type WeFixMoney.com directly into your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure. Take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 15.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It is the 5th anniversary of KBLA. It is Juneteenth. Our very special guest on Fat Meat Fridays is none other than our regular contributor, Gina Towns, the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Reverend Dr. Neighbors, as well as Ted Williams. Lady and gentlemen, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you.
I do want to deal with this trillionaire for just a moment, Ted, and Dr. Neighbors and Gina for just a moment, because when you think about what it takes for an African-American small business person to purchase the spectrum or a radio station, a 50-watt station in Los Angeles, the kind of politics that is represented by Elon Musk, an immigrant from South Africa who is obviously pro-white South Afrikaner and has leaned on the administration to bring more Afrikaners here under special visa programs, where they don't have to pay taxes, where they don't have to pay taxes on the land that they purchase. And in some cases, land is being given to them. And this is against the backdrop, not only of Juneteenth, but of the reparations movement in Evanston. And to think that a person with the kind of resources that Elon Musk has and the 5 African-American owned primary talk show radio stations in the United States, that if he decided on one evening to purchase them all, not to expand them or to expand our voice, but to completely eliminate them, that he'd spend $25 or $30 million just to buy them all so I don't have to hear from them again. We are living in the kind of world where it may have taken decades for Tavis Smiley to be able to get a radio station to keep our voices alive, but at the same time, the kind of capital that is moving in our system right now amongst the billionaire class, Black media, Hispanic media, Native American media could be consumed in one big Paramount Warner Brothers deal and wiped out overnight if, in fact, the forces that are aligned against us took advantage of this opportunity, and what would be a great tragedy for us. Dr. Williams, your thought on the accumulation of this kind of capital in this environment?
Well, I can tell you this. Dr. King, as we are all students of his work, talked heavily about the issues of poverty and inequality. We've gone backwards on the issue of inequality in this country when we have a nation in which the top 1% own close to 40% of all the wealth in the country, almost 40%. And that you have people who are struggling to make minimum wage and to survive for their families. I believe it is immoral to have a country with trillionaires when you do not have schools that are funded equally, when you do not have housing. Elon Musk could make a move, or someone like him. You know, there are people who are billionaires who are not hurting. There are people who are millionaires who are not hurting in that way, and wipe out, obviously, much progress, as is being done currently in the political process. As you know, sir, as we look at the threats to the Voting Rights Act and the threats to much of the progress are really coming from big money supported candidates and interests that are trying to roll back the hands of time. And so I choose, as we always do at the end of this show, to have hope, because as the old saying goes, the people united can never be defeated. That big money does have a place, and it is overwhelming. And yet, guess what? He buys this station, we're going to go find another one. He buys that one, we're going to go find another one. We've always made a way where there is no way. And we do have faith on our side, and we do have right on our side. It does bother me, but I promise you, with every dark time, there is light that comes out of it. We find purpose in pain. And so for me, let him start a war with us. We will find new ways and more innovative ways to get our voices out. He will not, and people like him will not win.
Gina?
I think it's very important that we continue these conversations. And I love the fact that I know that both of you are engaged where you are. And if each person could be engaged to encourage someone, even if it's just to talk to some people who may not be registered to vote, to instruct them to not only get registered, but if you are registered, to go and check the poll or at your state government agency to make sure that your registration is current and accurate, and that you have the right identification that you will need at the polling place, because that is our tool right now. And Jesse always talks about how Reverend Warnock talks about our vote as a kind of prayer right now. It is our power. It is our tool.
I do want to say this, Reverend Neighbors, you are on the forefront of a great movement with a tremendous opportunity to articulate the genuine and the legitimate needs of our people at this hour. The depressed, the dispossessed, the locked out, the damned. If Dr. Howard Thurman were living today, he would say, for those people whose backs are against the wall. We are grateful for your valiant struggle in the city of Evanston and the national leadership that you are leading and assuming right now on this our Juneteenth celebration. Dr. Neighbors, we have about 2.5 minutes before we come forward. Dr. Neighbors, your word of hope to the nation.
Jesse, thank you. And thank you, Ted and Gina, also for the genius that you have expressed during this hour. I want to say two things in closing. And one, I believe that history is our greatest teacher. Again, Malcolm X taught us that. And when we think about our history, one of the things that Ted said, no matter how they come at us, we are still going to win. We're going to find ways to overcome. That is a part of our history. And when we think about all of the angst that has been aimed at us, chaos, all of the terror, all of the racism. It's not just the wealthy people that did that. I mean, all of us are people of faith and on this call. And one of the things that we probably all know is that even the very early part of the church, what we call church fathers, that information that has been handed down to us has not been handed down to us correctly. We know that those first councils of the church, whether it was the church council at Hippo or the church council of Carthage, or whether it was another church council, we had Black leaders who were Africans, you all, Tertullian and Cyprian and Augustine and Origen, Athanasius, all of them came out of the continent of Africa. And that kind of pride, that kind of knowledge that it is running through our veins means absolutely everything. And what we're facing right now, I think that we have faced before. And I just want to say that our word of hope is that we will overcome. When a madman sits in the Oval Office, the administration becomes an asylum. When a clown sits in the office, Congress becomes nothing more than an awful circus. So we are on the other side of that. We are not clowns. We are not madmen. We're knowledgeable. We're people of faith. Let us take our faith. Let us take our nation, which is our nation that we fought and died for, and move it in the right direction. We can do that united. We can do that with power, and we can do that knowing our history, because we stand on the shoulders of giants in our history.
Amen, Dr. Neighbors. Thank you so much for that. Ted, thank you for joining us today.
Blessings. Thank you all. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Liberation Day. Let's keep fighting, you all.
Indeed, indeed.
And Gina, happy anniversary to you on this Fat Meat Friday as well. This is the second year that we have been on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580. It will be from the Beehive from 4 to 7 p.m. Until then, see you in a few hours.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.